Hey, good evening, everybody. Today in history with Paulo Castro, here's what we got going on. 1945, we have German scientists being brought to the United States for their technical skills in rocket design. And if you know what I'm talking about here, if you don't know what I'm talking about, we're talking about Operation Paperclip. This was kind of a funky situation where the United States government, in order to compete with our now enemies, if you know your history, 1945 to 1990, we enter the Cold War. Ideological conflict. Who's going to be the big dog? Is it going to be America with democracy slash capitalism? Is it going to be against the Russians with communism? And this was not only an ideological conflict, but it was also a kind of a fear. We might have to go to war with Russia. And both countries really wanted those German rockets. The Germans had invented the V1, V2 rockets. So basically, what the United States did after the war, even though high-ranking Nazi officials were executed in the Nuremberg trial, there were scientists that were brought over here. Whether these guys were card-carrying, full-on members of the Nazi Party, they were truly anti-Semitic, whatever the case may be, you would have to take it on a case-by-case basis. But 88 scientists were brought here to help us develop our rocket program. The Cold War, like I said, ideological conflict from 45 to 1990. Some people argued that the Cold War never ended. But everything was in the context of the Cold War. Whether you look at the moon landing, whether you look at the Vietnam War, the war in Afghanistan, the Korean War, all these things were kind of what we would consider proxy wars. And not only did the United States bring over former Nazi scientists, it's been mentioned in the X-Files, was mentioned in Captain America: Winter Soldier. Not only did they bring over these scientists to work on some of our science experiments, if you will, they also paid certain guys to disrupt communist uprisings. Because even though we didn't like fascism, we certainly didn't like communism even more. And there were some guys that were so badass and funky and just not of good character. We just paid them a salary to not ever show up here in the United States ever again. That came about during the Obama administration, where they found out that they were basically paying retirement funds to these guys that were just so, let's just call it what it is, evil. Here's a paycheck, stay out of our country. Speaking of evil, also today, double feature. 1957, we have Ed Gein killing his last victim. Ed Gein is a name. If you're into serial killers, you know who he is. If you don't know who he is, you kind of know his work. He was the basis for American Psycho. He was, I'm sorry, the first Psycho film. He was also the basis for Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs. Truly wicked individual. I won't go into his crimes here because just it's late and I get scared easily. So I'm going to leave it at that. But something to leave you a little freaky. The FBI Bureau of Statistics estimates that there are anywhere between 1 to 2 serial killers active in every state at any given time. That's a little funky. And I'm going to go sleep with the lights on. Everybody have a good night.